Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The sky cracked open as stars fell like tears from the heaven. Night turned into a brilliant cascade of light, a spectacle both mesmerizing and ominous. People across the kingdoms watched in awe and fear in the capital city of Allure, where the cobblestone streets glistened under the eerie glow of the falling stars. A sense of dread permeated the air. Noah, a young astrologer with raven-black hair and deep-set blue eyes, stood on the balcony of his modest chamber in the royal observatory. His hand trembled as he clutched an ancient, leather-bound star chart. The stars above were not behaving as they should. They were abandoning their celestial order, leaving behind a void of darkness. "This can't be happening," Noah muttered under his breath. His mentor, elder astrologer Leon, had dismissed his concerns earlier, but Noah's instincts screamed otherwise. The stars didn't just fall for no reason. They were messengers of something greater, something terrible. In the heart of Valerasalis, King Orion and his court gathered to discuss the omen. The falling stars were seen as an ill portent, a sign of disaster looming over the kingdom. The monarchs of other nations were similarly gripped by panic, their minds racing with thoughts of war, famine, or divine punishment. Noah knew it was much worse than they could imagine. The astral archive hidden deep beneath the royal observatory was a place of forgotten knowledge, a repository of wisdom from astrologers long past. Noah had only been here a few times, but he had learned that the answers to many mysteries lay within these dusty walls. By candlelight, he scoured the ancient texts. His fingers traced faded words written in a language nearly lost to time. Then he found it the prophecy of the celestial rift. The parchment spoke of a once-in-a-millennium event when the fabric of the cosmos would weaken, allowing a great calamity to spill forth into the world. The falling stars were the harbingers of this disaster. Noah's heart raced. The prophecy foretold destruction on a scale beyond comprehension. The stars themselves would vanish, leaving the world vulnerable to an ancient force that thrived on chaos and division. He sat back, his thoughts spinning. The kingdoms were already at odds, each more interested in their own power than the well-being of the world. How could he possibly convince them to unite against a threat so abstract, so incomprehensible? The distant sound of footsteps broke his concentration. Noah quickly hid the parchment and turned toward the entrance. Lady Selene, a trusted advisor to King Orion, and one of the few who still believed in the power of the stars, stepped into the archive. "I thought I might find you here," she said, her voice a mix of authority and concern. Her long silver hair shimmered in the dim light as she approached him. "You shouldn't be here," Noah whispered, still on edge from his discovery. "If they find out—" "Relax," she interrupted, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I am not your enemy, Noah. I came because I heard what you've been saying about the stars. Is it true? Is this more than just a celestial anomaly?" Noah hesitated, but then he nodded. "It's true. The stars aren't just falling. They were being pulled, drawn away by something. There's a force, an ancient power seeking to plunge the world into darkness. If we don't act, everything we know will be lost." Selene's eyes narrowed, and King Orion, will he listen? He sounded too preoccupied with maintaining his grip on power. The other kingdoms are the same. They want to care about this threat unless it affects their throne. A heavy silence hung between them. Selene was the kind of person who understood the dangers of power and the blindness of those who wielded it. She had seen too many rulers, too many wars fought over pride and greed. But this was different. This was the end of everything if they didn't act. "We need to warn them," she said, her voice firm. "If King Orion won, listen. Perhaps the other rulers will." Noah shook his head. "You think they'll care about the ravings of a young astrologer? They are more likely to use this chaos for their own gain." Selene's lips pressed into a thin line. "Perhaps, but we have no choice. The stars are telling us that time is running out." As dawn broke over the capital, casting a pale light over the city, Noah and Selene made their move. They left Valera under the cover of secrecy, knowing that every step they took brought them closer to danger. Their destination was Kaldor, the nearest kingdom and one ruled by Queen Elysia, a monarch known for her cunning and ambition. The road to Kaldor was fraught with peril. Valera's royal court was in turmoil, and whispers of rebellion filled the air. Word had spread that Noah was fleeing with important information about the stars, and not everyone wanted that knowledge to be shared. As they traveled through dense forests and across winding rivers, Noah couldn't truly shake the feeling that they were being followed. The tension gnawed at him like a festering wound. Such as paranoia, Celine reassured him as they made camp one night. No one knows where we were going. Noah wasn't really so sure. The stars had told him that danger lurked in the shadows, and the stars were never wrong. They reached Caldor after several days of hard travel. The city was a fortress of iron and stone, perched on the edge of a cliff overlooking the raging sea. The air was thick with salt and tension, as Queen Alicia's court was a hive of political intrigue. Noah and Celine were granted an audience with the queen, though they quickly realized that gaining her favor would be more difficult than they anticipated. Queen Alicia sat on a throne of dark wood, her sharp eyes studying them with a predator's sheer gaze. She was a striking woman with raven hair that fell in waves over her shoulders and a smile that hid more than it revealed. "You've had come a long way," she said, her voice smooth as silk. "What could possibly be so urgent that you would risk the wrath of your own king?" Noah stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "The stars are falling, Your Majesty. It's as a sign of something much worse, a catastrophe that will destroy the world if we don't act." Alicia raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. "Stars fall all the time, boy. Why should I concern myself with the superstitions of an astrologer?" Noah swallowed his fear. "It's not superstition. The stars are being pulled by an ancient force. If we don't unite the kingdoms, we'll be consumed by chaos. It's already beginning." For a moment, Elisa said nothing. Then she laughed, a low mocking sound that echoed through the hall. "Chaos. Oh, I do enjoy chaos. It has a way of creating opportunity." Noah's blood ran cold. He had feared this. The rulers of the world would not see the falling stars as a threat, but as an opening, a chance to expand their power, to take advantage of the confusion. Queen Alicia leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with malice. "You say the world is ending. Perhaps, but I see no reason to prevent it. In fact, I might even encourage it." Noah felt his heart sink. "You don't understand, this isn't a matter of politics or conquest, it's at the end of everything." Alicia's smile widened. "Oh, I understand perfectly. And if it's at the end of the world, I intend to be on top when it comes." Celine and Noah barely escaped Caldor with their lives. They had been imprisoned in the castle's sewer dungeons, but with Celine's quick thinking and a timely distraction, they managed to slip through the guards and flee into the night. As they made their way into the wild, the weight of their situation pressed down on Noah like never before. Queen Alicia had confirmed his worst fears. The rulers of the world were too blinded by their ambitions to see the greater threat. But even as they fled, Noah knew that he couldn't give up. There had to be another way. The stars had shown him the path, but it would require more than just words to unite the kingdom. It would require something powerful enough to break through their greed and fear, something ancient, something hidden in the mountains of Reclaive. Noah and Celine pressed forward, the cold winds of the Rallis Mountains biting at their skin. They had narrowly escaped the grip of Caldor, but their path ahead was no less perilous. The mountains of Rallis were known for their treacherous terrain and the isolation of the Council of Stars, a reclusive group of astrologers who had long withdrawn from the world as political affairs. They were Noah's last hope for uncovering the full truths about the falling stars and the ancient force pulling them from the sky. Celine was quiet as they navigated the narrow mountain paths, her sharp eyes scanning for any sign of danger. Noah's mind, however, was consumed by the weight of his discovery. The stars had always been his guide, their patterns as familiar to him as his own heartbeat. But now they were slipping away one by one into a darkness that he could not yet comprehend. The days blurred together as they climbed higher into the mountain. The air grew thinner and the landscape became more barren. Their supplies were running low, but Noah barely noticed. His focus was on reaching the Council of Stars, a group that he had only heard whispers of in the most secretive corners of the astral archive. They say the council can see beyond the stars themselves. He had once read in a dusty tome, but they have hidden themselves away, caring little for the affairs of men. Noah hoped that was entirely true. When they finally arrived at the gates of the Astral Monastery, the headquarters of the council, they were greeted by a figure wrapped in thick white robes, their face hidden behind a heavy hood. "You seek the wisdom of the stars," the figure said in a voice that seemed to echo within the cold stone walls of the mountain path. "But you must prove your worth to stand before the council." Noah stepped forward, his hands trembling from the cold, and the exhaustion of the journey. I am Noah, an astrologer from Valera. I carry knowledge of the celestial rift and the threat it poses to our world. Please, I beg you, let me speak to the council. Time is running out. The figure studied him for a moment, the silence stretching on until it became unbearable. Then with a nod, the gate creaked open and they were ushered inside. The Astral Monastery was an imposing structure, carved into the side of the mountain itself. Inside, the walls were lined with ancient star charts and strange symbols that Noah didn't recognize. The air smelled of burning incense, and a heavy, almost sacred stillness permeated the hall. As they were led deeper into the monastery, Noah, sir, heart pounded in his chest. This was it, the moment that would determine the fate of the world. The Council of Stars, a group of the most powerful astrologers in existence, could either help him or send him away, leaving the world to descend into chaos. Finally, they were brought into a grand chamber, lit by the soft glow of celestial orbs floating above a circular table. Around the table sat 5 members of the council, their faces shadowed beneath hood. Noah could feel the weight of their gaze on him as he approached. "Why have you come here, Noah of Valera?" one of the council members asked, their voice calm yet commanding. Noah swallowed hard. The stars are falling. The celestial rift has begun. I believe an ancient force is pulling the stars from the sky, preparing to consume our world in chaos and darkness. Another member of the council leaned forward. "You speak of things not known to most. The celestial rift is a phenomenon older than recorded time, one that even we do not fully understand." Noah clenched his fists. "But it sounds happening. The stars are vanishing. If we don't stop it, there will be nothing left." There was a long pause as the council seemed to deliberate in silence. Finally, the head of the council, an elderly man with a long white beard, spoke. "You are correct, Noah. The stars are being drawn away by a force known as the celestial being, an entity that exists beyond the mortal realm. It thrives on division and chaos, and it seeks to consume the light of the stars to fuel its power. Once it has enough, it will tear through the fabric of our world and plunge us into eternal darkness." Noah's blood ran cold. "Then how do we stop it?" The head of the council sighed. "Stopping the celestial being is no small task. It feeds on the conflicts of men, on the wars, the greed, the power struggle. The more divided the kingdoms are, the stronger it becomes to weaken it. The world must unite, but as you already know, that is easier said than done." Noah nodded. "I've tried to warn the rulers, but they were too blinded by their own ambitions. Queen Elisa even wants to use the chaos for her own gain." The council members exchanged glances. "Then you understand the challenge before you. The only way to weaken the celestial being is to bring unity to the kingdom. And even then, it may not be enough. There is one artifact, however, that may give you a chance." Noah leaned forward. "What is it?" The head of the council gestured to one of the floating celestial orbs above the table. "The star crystal is an ancient relic, said to be a fragment of the very stars themselves. It can amplify the power of an astrologer, allowing them to send a message across the world, one powerful enough to reach the hearts of men and break through their greed and fear. But using the star crystal comes with a cost. It will drain the life force of the one who wields it." Noah's breath caught in his throat. He knew the price would be steep, but this was more than he had anticipated. "Are you willing to make that sacrifice, Noah?" the head of the council asked, his voice grave. Noah hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "If that's the only way, then yes, I'll do it." The council stood as one, and the head of the council retrieved the star crystal from its place among the orb. It was a small, unassuming stone, but it pulsed with a deep inner light that seemed to resonate with the stars above. Noah took the crystal, feeling its warmth seep into his skin. It was heavier than he had expected, as though it carried the weight of the cosmos within it. "The time is near," the head of the council said. "The celestial being is growing stronger with every passing day. You must use the crystal soon, or it will be too late." Noah nodded, his grip tightening on the crystal. He turned to Celine, who had been silent throughout the exchange. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with fear and concern. "Are you sure about this, Noah?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I don't have a choice," he said. "If I don't do this, the world will end. I won. Let that happen." Celine nodded, though her expression remained troubled. "Then let's not waste any more time." As they left the Astral Monastery, the weight of the star crystal hung heavy around Noah's neck. The path back down the mountain was fraught with danger, but there was no turning back now. Noah could feel the pull of the celestial being, a dark presence lurking at the edge of his consciousness, growing stronger with each step they took. By the time they reached the base of the mountain, the air was thick with tension. Noah's hand instinctively went to the star crystal, drawing strength from its steady pulse. He could feel its power humming through him, but he knew that using it would come at a great cost. As they neared the outskirts of the kingdom of Rylus, a low rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. Noah looked up just in time to see a plume of smoke rising in the distance. His heart sank. Kilderside's army, Selene said, her voice tight with dread. Noah cursed under his breath. Queen Alicia had made her move. She was coming for the star crystal, and if she got her hands on it, the world would be doomed. We have to stop them, Noah said, his mind racing. If Alicia takes the crystal, she will use it to gain more power, and the celestial being will only grow stronger. Selene nodded, but her face was pale. We're outnumbered, there's no way we can fight an army. Noah clenched his fists, the weight of the crystal pressing against his chest. We don't need to fight. We just need to buy enough time for me to use the crystal. The two of them hurried toward the source of the smoke, their feet pounding against the ground as the sound of marching soldiers grew louder. Noah could feel the power of the star crystal thrumming within him, but he knew that unleashing it would be his last act. As they reached the battlefield, Noah's heart pounded in his chest. Queen Alicia's forces were already engaged in battle with the warriors of Rylus, the clash of steel and the roar of battle filling the air. Chaos reigned, and in the midst of it all, Noah could feel the presence of the celestial being feeding on the conflict. He had to act now. With a deep breath, Noah raised the star crystal high above his head. Its light grew brighter, pulsing with the rhythm of the stars themselves. He could feel its power coursing through him, and he knew that this was his moment. Stop, he cried, his voice amplified. By the power of the crystal, listen to me. The battlefield fell silent as the soldiers turned to stare at him, their weapons still in hand. Noah took a step forward, his heart pounding in his chest. The stars are falling, and the world is in danger. If we continue to fight, we will only make things worse. We must unite, or we will all be consumed by the darkness. For a moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, one by one, the soldiers lowered their weapons. Noah felt the crystal stand power surge within him, and he knew that he had done it. He had reached them. He had given them hope. But the cost was great. As the light of the crystal faded, Noah felt his strength leave him. His legs buckled beneath him, and he collapsed to the ground, the star crystal falling from his hand. Selene rushed to his side, her face pale with fear. Noah. He smiled weakly up at her, his vision fading. It's done. He whispered, the kingdoms will unite, the celestial being will be stopped. As darkness claimed him, Noah knew that his sacrifice had been worth it.